Hello everyone. Thank you for returning to the challenging journey of single mother Hoài Ca. Today we will follow a tense situation as Hùng gives a serious warning to Hoài Ca. He says that the robbers are looking for her and danger could strike at any moment. Will Hoài Ca be able to escape this threat? What will she do when faced with these lurking dangers? Stay tuned to watch the exciting developments in this story. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss any of the upcoming dramatic moments. Hùng paced nervously back and forth in the small room, his hands shaking slightly as he tried to steady his breath. The shadows of the night seemed to close in on him, and the distant hum of traffic outside did nothing to calm his nerves. Hoài Ca had just returned to the house, safe and sound, after everything that had happened. Yet now, as she sat before him, he found himself struggling to find the right words to say. "Oh, Hoài Ca." He started his voice low, almost hesitant. He paused, trying to gauge her reaction. Hoài Ca, exhausted from the long days of searching for safety, looked up at him, her eyes filled with trust. She had no idea what was coming. "You don't understand. You need to hear this, and you need to hear it now." Hoài Ca's brow furrowed. "What is it, Hùng? What's wrong?" "We've been through so much already. Is there more danger?" Hùng took a deep breath, his eyes locking onto hers. The weight of the truth hung heavy in the air, making every second feel longer than it was. "The robbers. They're not done with you. They might come after you again." The words hit Hoài Ca like a punch to the gut. For a moment, she couldn't breathe. Her world already shaken to its core by the violence and trauma she had endured, now felt like it was on the brink of collapse. "What do you mean?" she asked, her voice trembling. "I thought they were gone. I thought I was safe." Hùng shook his head, his face etched with concern. "I wish it were that simple. I've heard rumors. They're looking for you. They know you're still out there, and they won't stop until they find you. They're dangerous, Hoài Ca. You have to stay away from your home. Stay here, please." Hoài Ca's heart raced. She had just reunited with her son Tony and was beginning to feel like she could finally breathe again. But now, Hùng was telling her to run away, to leave Tony behind. "You want me to leave him? To run from my own home?" The pain in her voice was palpable. She looked down at her hands, wringing them nervously, her mind racing. Hung's face softened with a mix of regret and urgency. "I know it sounds impossible, but if you go home, they'll find you. And this time, it might be worse. They're getting more desperate. They'll do anything to get what they want." Hoài Ca shook her head in disbelief. "But I can't just leave Tony. He's been through so much already. I need to be with him. He needs me." "I understand," Hùng said, his voice tight with emotion. "But you can't protect him if you're in danger yourself. Please trust me. You need to stay here at least for a little while until we know it's safe. I can't lose you, Hoài Ca." The tension in the room thickened, and for a long moment, neither spoke. Hoài Ca's mind whirled, torn between the need to be with her son and the reality that Hùng might be right. Could she really risk going back home? Could she leave everything she'd fought for behind? Her heart was heavy, and she knew that no matter what decision she made, it wouldn't be easy. Finally, she spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know what to do, Hùng. I don't know how to protect him, or myself." Hùng stepped closer, his voice softening as he placed a hand on her shoulder. You don't have to do this alone, Hoài Ca. We'll figure it out together. But for now, you need to stay here. Please. Hoài Ca took a deep breath, the weight of his words settling over her. She knew that Hùng was trying to protect her, but the idea of leaving her son behind, even for a moment, felt like a betrayal. She fought to hold back the tears that threatened to fall. I'll stay for now, she whispered, her voice full of sorrow. But I can't be away from Tony forever. He needs me. Hùng nodded, his expression softening. We'll make sure it's safe. I promise. The night stretched on, and the weight of Hung's words hung in the air like a storm cloud, threatening to break at any moment. Hoài Ca sat quietly on the couch, her thoughts racing. She couldn't shake the feeling that she was trapped, caught between the desire to protect her son and the brutal reality that she was a target. She kept seeing Tony's face, his innocent smile, and the way his small hands clung to hers when they were reunited. How could she leave him behind even for a moment? How could she keep him safe while she hid in fear? She couldn't stop thinking about her son as she walked to the window, looking out at the dark street. The quiet seemed deafening, and the soft glow of the streetlights did nothing to soothe her troubled mind. What was the right thing to do? Hung's warning echoed in her head. The robbers might come after you again. She wanted to believe that it was just a scare, that danger was over. But deep down she knew that Hùng wouldn't say something like this unless he was sure. He was always the calm one, the level-headed one who knew how to navigate danger. And for him to be so adamant, it meant something. Hoài Ca sighed, rubbing her temples as if she could erase the thoughts swirling in her head. How had everything gotten so complicated, she thought? The path that once seemed so clear. Return home, reunite with her family, rebuild her life was now blocked by invisible barriers. Fear, uncertainty. The very forces she had tried to outrun now seemed to follow her, creeping into every corner of her life. Just as she was lost in these thoughts, Hùng came into the room, his footsteps hesitant. His face, usually so composed, was now lined with concern, his brow furrowed as he approached her. Hoài Ca, he started softly, trying to find the right words. I know this is hard for you, but please, you have to understand that your safety is the most important thing right now. If you go home, you could be putting yourself and Tony at risk. She turned to face him, her eyes filled with a mixture of frustration and exhaustion. I don't know what's worse, Hùng. Being scared here or knowing that Tony is alone without me. I can't just turn my back on him. He's been through enough. I have to be there for him. You don't understand how it feels. Hùng stepped closer, his voice gentle but firm. I do understand, Hoài Ca. You think I don't know what it feels like to want to protect someone you love. But the difference is that you can't protect Tony if you're the one in danger. If they find you, they'll hurt both of you. The words hit Hoài Ca hard like a slap across the face. She knew he was right, but the reality was crushing. So, what am I supposed to do? She asked, her voice breaking. Live in fear. Live in hiding. I can't do that. I've already lost so much. I just want to be with my son. He needs me, Hùng. Hung's heart ached seeing her like this. He reached out, touching her arm in a gesture of comfort. I'm not asking you to hide forever, just until we know it's safe. I'll help you. We'll figure it out together. But right now, your safety and Tony's is all that matters. Trust me. She looked into his eyes, searching for the reassurance she desperately needed. She saw the sincerity there, the same sincerity that had always been a source of strength for her. Still doubts crept into her mind. What if he's wrong? What if I'm too late? Hùng stepped back, sensing her hesitation. I'll do everything I can to make sure you and Tony are safe. I've already started making arrangements, but I need you to trust me. Just for a little while, let me handle this. Hoài Ca stood there, her arms wrapped around herself, as though the weight of the situation was too much to bear. For a moment, she didn't say anything. Her thoughts were like a whirlwind, spinning faster and faster, leaving her unable to settle on one course of action. She longed to go home, to hold Tony close and tell him everything would be okay. But how could she promise that when she didn't even know if she would be safe? Finally, after what felt like an eternity, she nodded. Okay, she said, her voice barely audible. I'll stay, but you have to promise me that we'll figure this out. I can't stay hidden forever, Hùng. I won't. I promise, Hùng replied, his voice unwavering. The silence that followed was heavy, both of them knowing that the road ahead would not be easy. Hoài Ca still struggled with her decision, but for the first time since arriving, she felt like maybe, just maybe, she had made the right choice. As she sat down again, trying to calm her mind, she wondered how long it would take for the robbers to find her. And what would happen when they did? The days passed slowly, each one heavier than the last. Hoài Ca found herself in a constant state of unease. The quiet of Hung's home, once a safe haven, now felt like a gilded cage. She couldn't shake the feeling that something terrible was lurking just outside her reach, waiting to disrupt the fragile peace she had managed to create. Though Hùng tried his best to comfort her, to assure her that everything would be fine, she could feel the weight of the situation pressing on him as well. He had become more withdrawn, more focused on finding ways to keep them safe. His efforts were tireless, tracking down leads, making calls, securing information. But each night as they sat together, Hoài Ca could see the fear in his eyes, the unspoken worry about what would happen next. He was doing everything he could, but she knew deep down that even his strength couldn't protect them from everything. It was late one evening when Hùng sat down beside her, his face pale and drawn from lack of sleep. He placed a hand on her shoulder, his touch gentle but firm. Hoài Ca, he said quietly, his voice barely above a whisper. There's something I need to tell you, something I've found out. She turned to face him, her heart pounding in her chest. What is it? She asked, already knowing the news wouldn't be good. They're closer than we thought. Hùng continued, his voice tight with tension. The robbers, I mean. They've been tracking you. They know where you are and they're coming. The words hit her like a slap. For a moment, everything seemed to freeze. She stared at him, her mind reeling. What do you mean they know where I am? How could they possibly know? Hùng took a deep breath, trying to steady his nerves. I don't know yet, but I'm doing everything I can to find out. I'm trying to cover all the exits, all the ways they might come for you. But it's only a matter of time before they find us, Hoài Ca. And when they do, it's going to get dangerous. Hoài Ca felt her chest tighten. Fear gripped her, pulling her in every direction. So, what do we do now? She asked, her voice small and fragile. How do we stay ahead of them? Hùng looked down, his face filled with concern. I've been trying to come up with a plan, but right now all I can think of is to keep you hidden. To keep Tony hidden. I don't want to risk anyone getting hurt. But Hùng, Hoài Ca said urgently, her hands trembling. Tony, he can't stay hidden forever. He needs to know I'm here. I can't just abandon him, not after everything. I know, Hùng said softly, his eyes full of understanding. But right now, your safety has to come first. We can't risk putting him in danger too. Hoài Ca's mind raced as she considered the impossible choice before her. Could she really stay hidden from Tony, the child she had fought so hard to reunite with? Could she risk letting him believe she wasn't there when he needed her most? As the days passed, the tension in the house continued to grow. Hoài Ca had never felt so torn in her life. Every time she looked at Hùng, she saw the weight of his own internal struggle. He was doing everything he could to protect her, to keep her safe. But she knew he was worried. Worried that one day it wouldn't be enough, that one day the robbers would find them, and it would be too late. And then one evening when the sun had set, and the quiet of the house felt more oppressive than ever, Hùng came to her with grim news. I've found out where they're hiding, he said, his voice tight. They're just a few miles away. I don't know how long we have, but it's not long. Hoài Ca's heart skipped a beat. What do we do now? She asked, her voice barely audible. Hung's eyes were dark with worry as he looked at her. We stay put for now. I'll make sure we're ready when the time comes. But Hoài Ca, I need you to understand. If they find us, it's not just your life that's at risk. It's Tony's too. And I can't let that happen. The weight of his words crushed her chest, leaving her breathless. She knew Hùng was right. She knew that as much as she wanted to protect Tony, she couldn't do it alone. She needed help, and she needed to trust that Hùng would do everything he could to keep them both safe. But what if it wasn't enough? What if in the end, the robbers found them? What if they hurt Tony? Hoài Ca couldn't bear the thought. It was more than she could process, more than she could bear. For the first time, she felt the full force of the situation. The robbers weren't just a threat. They were a shadow over everything she loved, everything she had fought for. And no matter how hard Hùng tried, there was no guarantee that they would be safe. As she sat in the dim light of the room, Hoài Ca's heart ached for the family she had worked so hard to rebuild. She had come so close to losing them once before, and now it seemed like they were at the brink again. Hung's voice broke through her thoughts. We'll get through this, Hoài Ca, together. Just stay with me. Stay safe. But the doubt in her mind lingered. How long could they keep running? How long before the past caught up with them?
Lời nói của Hùng khiến lòng ngực cô thắt lại. Cô không biết Hùng nói đúng. Cô biết rằng cô muốn bảo vệ Tommy đến đâu, cô cũng không thể làm điều đó một mình. Cô cần sự trợ giúp, và cô tin rằng Hùng sẽ là một thứ có thể để giữ an toàn cho cả hai. Nhưng nếu như vậy, chúng vẫn chưa là đủ. Nếu cuối cùng bọn cướp tìm thấy họ thì sao? Nếu chúng làm hại Tommy, Hoài Ca không thể chịu đựng nổi ý định đó. Nó vượt quá sức chịu đựng của cô, vượt quá sức. Lần đầu tiên tôi cảm thấy sức mạnh thực sự của tình huống này. Bọn cướp không chỉ là một mối đe dọa, chúng là cái bóng che phủ tất cả những gì cô yêu thương, tất cả những gì cô đã đấu tranh để giành lấy. Và dù Hùng có cố gắng thế nào đi nữa, cũng không có gì đảm bảo rằng họ sẽ được an toàn. Ngồi trong ánh sáng mờ ảo của căn phòng, trái tim Hoài Ca đau nhói cho gia đình mà cô đã dày công dựng lại. Cô đã từng suýt mất họ một lần, giờ đây dường như họ đang ở bên bờ vực thẳm. Giọng Hùng cắt ngang giữa dòng suy nghĩ của cô. Chúng ta sẽ vượt qua thôi Hoài Ca. Cùng nhau, chỉ cần ở bên anh, hãy giữ an toàn. Nhưng nỗi nghi ngờ vẫn còn vương vấn. Họ có thể tiếp tục chạy trốn bao lâu nữa thì quá khứ sẽ bắt kịp họ.